Welcome back to another idea spotlight here on Beyond the Brick. I'm Joshua Hanlon, and today I'm joined by Boone Langston to chat about his Magic School Bus idea. And I want to thank Clone Army Customs, as always, for helping make these live streams possible. If you are a fan of Lego Star Wars in any way, make sure you head on over to clonearmycustoms.com and check out all of their incredible minifigures and accessories that they have to offer and start improving your Lego Star Wars builds today. So many of you will know Boone from his many different videos that he has appeared in here on Beyond the Brick and all of his own amazing work over on his own YouTube channel, Boone Builds. Thank you so much for joining me today, Boone.
Hey, thank you very much, Joshua. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
So I was super excited when I saw you launched your first ideas project, because I know this is something that you've been thinking about. So go ahead and tell us about kind of what this project is and the inspiration behind depicting it in Lego and putting this on ideas.
Yeah, so this is the Magic School Bus. I have the actual model right here with me. This is the reason I'm doing this is for years I've been trying to think of an idea that is this sweet spot between something that's popular enough to really resonate with a lot of people out there and get the support and make a lot of people happy if it becomes a set, and yet not so popular that Lego doesn't already have the IP licenses, and that it's not already been approved or reached 10,000 on ideas. And so I was watching the new version of the Magic School Bus with my daughters a few months ago, and I was just really enjoying it. They were really enjoying it, and we were singing the theme song, and then it just kind of hit me. I was like, hey, what if I do Magic School Bus as an ideas project? And my daughters thought it was a great idea, and my wife thought it was a great idea. So I started planning and designing and collecting pieces. And I watched the original show, came on in the 90s, and in the United States, I'm pretty sure it was across the United States on our PBS channels, public broadcasting. And I watched it probably the most when I was like in middle school, and I might have been a little bit old for the target demographic at that time, but I thought that the journeys that they went on and the things that the bus turned into were so cool, and it was just a fun thing to come home from school and turn on the TV and eat some snacks and watch Miss Frizzle and the Magic School Bus. So, and now I have my own kids, and they're into the new version of the show on Netflix. So I feel like maybe I'm hitting a couple of different generations with potential fans of the Magic School Bus. So there you go. That's why I chose to do it. And I just think that the fact that it's a bus, it's cute, and it turns into a spaceship, it turns into a submarine, and along the way to getting the 10,000 votes, I'm going to reveal some other things that this can turn into. So hopefully, if it becomes a set, it'll encourage people to think outside the box and create their own ideas.
Right, and you've already, like you said, shown off some of that with the turning into a submarine or a spaceship. So do you want to demonstrate one of those for us right now, if you can?
Yeah, so I'll start by taking off the bumper. So the bumper comes off the back of the vehicle, the tail lights come out, and then this sort of submarine back goes on the back, and that covers up the back door on the bus, and it's got a propeller back there and some fins. And then the top of the bus can come off, and you see the seats and the aisle and the driver's controls in there. And for roof accessories, I can press out the bottom. There's a brown brick right there, and it presses out these two tiles on top. And then I can place the submarine sort of like the submarine port and fins and periscope up there on the top, and then that fits right onto the top of the bus. And when the bus is in its bus form, traditionally the reader board up there will say Wahoo. And so for the submarine mode, I've changed it to dive, dive, dive. So there you go.
That is fantastic. Yeah, I love how you can just easily pop in and out with those modifications. So I'm assuming then that was your plan from the very beginning, is to be able to modify it like that. You didn't make the bus and then decide to add that on later.
Yeah, I knew, I mean, it was sort of a combination of both. I knew that I had to have a bus that looked like a bus. And then it needed to be able to have these modifications. So I designed, the back of the bus and the side of the bus and the top of the bus, with those modifications in mind. So yeah, I didn't have to go back and re-engineer the bus to make these things fit on. I sort of had that baked into the design of the. So for instance, the side panels that you see in the standard bus form and the submarine form, these pop off, and it's sort of one big panel. I say that as it comes apart in two pieces in my hand. But those come off, and then the wings for the space shuttle can go on. So I can either do that now, or I can show you that in a little bit.
No, you can show that right now. Feel free. Yeah.
Yeah. So then the wings for the space shuttle. Did you all get to appreciate it being a submarine for a little while? There we go. He's still a happy submarine. And so then the wings can go on the side there. I'll pull the other side off, these side panels. And then this wing can go over here. And then the main back piece that goes for the submarine sort of stays on for the space shuttle. And my thought is that this could be a piece that is sort of like staging for any type of additions that you want to make to the back there. So then we can put on the boosters for the space shuttle, and like that. And then I can take off the top, switch it around, and put the fin for the space shuttle on top. And now this Magic School Bus can zoom through the galaxy. There you go. And I think this is, so far, this is my favorite look for the Magic School Bus. I really love the Magic School Bus as a sort of space shuttle, rocket ship type thing. So I'm pretty pleased with how this looks. And, I sort of dream about someday what it might be like for, Lego product designers to look at this and kind of put their own spin on it. So anyway, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get there.
The fire coming out the back is just a great modification. Yeah, so I agree. I think that's the best one you've got so far. Do you have other ideas for add-ons and things that you haven't revealed yet?
I do. So I'm saving some of those for future updates, maybe when we hit milestones. So I've actually announced I've got a big tire. I'm going to put some big tires on it, and I don't want to say any more than that. I don't want to say any more than that, but when we hit 2,000 subscribers. So go click that link and give my model support. And when we hit 2,000 supporters, I'm gonna put some real big tires on the Magic School Bus, and we'll see what kind of adventures we can go on.
Speaking of big tires, how did you decide on this scale for the bus? Because you've done some very large builds over the years, so you're certainly capable of doing bigger builds. But with this one, you stuck to, is this pretty much minifigure scale then?
It is, yeah. So basically inside there are seats on the bus, a bus driver seat and seats for the children. And I wanted all 8, there's sort of 8 classmate characters in the cartoon. And I wanted them all to be able to fit on the bus. And I wanted them to be able to sit in seats that looked a bit more like bus seats than just sort of like the standard, minifigure chair element.
Right.
And because it's like when you get on a school bus, if you've ever ridden a school bus, one of the things is that like the seats are wider than one person, but they're barely wide enough for two people. And so that's kind of what I was going for here. So I knew I wanted the seats to be, more than one wide, but not necessarily more than two wide. So I made them three wide, and I needed an aisle, and I needed each side wall of the bus to be a stud. So that's how I ended up with this is 10 studs wide. So it is a little bit large for the standard kind of Lego city that people might have at home. Trying to with one hand get a character ready here so that I can put him in the seat and show you, but he's not really cooperating. Okay, here we go. So then with these sort of newish 1x3 jumpers, a minifigure can sit in the center of each seat there and have enough room for their arms, and that's a lot of fun. Another thing I think I might end up doing in the future is taking some photographs of, if you removed the seats and put in like some computer control stations. That's one of the things that happens in both iterations of the show, is the seats, when the bus transforms, the seats will kind of disappear into the bus, and then all this kind of science technology equipment comes out. So I thought that would be a fun upgrade to show people in the future as well. So that's there. Yeah, so that's kind of how I ended up with the scale. And the length of the bus was just sort of dictated by how I wanted these kids to sit in their seats.
Are there any moving elements to the bus itself? I'm sure like the side door opening, things like that. Any other playability that's built into the bus outside of kind of the modifications?
Yeah, the side door does open, as you suggested. The side door opens here. I say that, and of course it's like stuck.
There you go.
Side door opens. Of course, it's fun to drive it around on the ground or the table. I think one of the cool things about this model is, it is, as they say, swooshable. I can hold it from the bottom or from the top and sort of make it fly. One person had a recommendation, and I hadn't thought about this before I launched the Ideas project, was that you should be able to remove the hood and see the engine of the bus. And he pointed out that there actually are a couple of episodes where they have to pop the hood and maybe something's wrong with the engine. And I didn't design that into the model, but it certainly could be designed that way. So I think maybe I'm going to try to wrap my head around that for a future update as well. And that would be kind of a fun little, I don't know, there could be some little secret Easter egg hiding inside the hood. I'll have to go back and watch the episodes where they actually pop the hood on the Magic School Bus and see what the significance there might be.
You got to get going and do more research.
Yeah.
So, the bus then itself looks great then. So I wanted to ask you about the minifigures as well, because obviously the characters in this show are a big part of it. So take us through kind of the minifigure designs here. Are any of these custom elements, or did you stick to all official Lego parts for these?
So all of the parts are official parts. I'll sort of start in the center. You see there's like an iguana there. That's Liz. That's sort of their class pet. And they're just I think that happens to come out with I think a recent collectible minifigures series, and I just felt like it was perfect. It's just, I mean, if they ran with this for an official set, they might add, slightly different markings to make it look a little bit more cartoony. But I think that element, I just was ecstatic that was available, and it hasn't been out for all that long, maybe a year or two. And then on either side of Liz are the two Miss Frizzles. So the original show had the original Miss Frizzle, and back then she wore kind of this big blue dress, and the dress would just have like stars on it if they were going to space, or fish and sea stars on it if they were going into the ocean. And so the dress would change for each episode. But now the original Miss Frizzle is a college professor in the latest version of the show. And so you see her on your right there, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making sure that we're all looking at the picture, the same orientation.
Yep.
Yeah. So she's on the right there, and she wears kind of a vest and a button-up shirt, and she's in the cartoon she looks a little bit more like she might be going out to do some like field research in the wilderness. And then the new Miss Frizzle, who is the original Miss Frizzle's younger sister, is on the left there, and she's got kind of an updated version of that the original dress, and so she now wears just sort of like a blue shirt with a flower hanging around her neck, and then she's got that blue skirt, and her skirt gets a new sort of group of images for each episode, but sort of the most common default is kind of flowers and vines. So I took the Anna, that's the skirt element from Anna from Frozen, and I added, just using Photoshop, some extra details there. And then all of the other figure elements are official, and I just made 3 other modifications. Tim is the second from the right over there, and he has a blue and gray sort of Letterman's jacket looking jacket on, and that's very, very similar to what he wears in the new version of the show, except that official element has the NH for the Newberry High logo on the chest. So I just photoshopped that out when I took these pictures. Let's see, there's one other. Carlos is between. Carlos is just to the left of the Miss Frizzle with the bright red hair.
In the red there?
Yeah, so he's got the red jacket on and the light blue pants. And his face is from the scientist from Jurassic World. And that minifigure had like some age lines on it. And I liked the facial expression and the skin color. But I photoshopped the age lines out because I want it to look like a young person. Otherwise, I'm looking around and I'm pretty sure all of those other pieces are official elements. Wanda is on the far right, and I had a different hairpiece on her, but then I was at a Bricks and Minifigs near me, and I sort of showed Kevin, the guy who runs the Bricks and Minifigs up in Vancouver, showed him the picture of what I was looking for, and he was like, oh, there's a Friends element that looks almost exactly like that. So I actually think that Wanda's hair and Valerie Frizzle's hair are both Friends elements, and the rest of the hair pieces and minifig elements are, from traditional minifigures.
Yeah, well, they certainly look good. I like the expression on the kid with the green sweater there, the glasses, that face. What is that face from?
Well, that's Arnold, and okay. I'm really pleased with how Arnold looks compared to the new version of Arnold, and I'll expand on this a little bit because Arnold is probably one of the most notable child characters on the show. He's the one who's just always worried. He, I think at the beginning of every episode in the theme song, he's saying like, I hope we're going on a regular field trip today or something like that. People will correct me in the comments what he actually says, and then all the other kids say, with the Frizz, no way. And the point is that every field trip they go on is dangerous and exciting and extraordinary. And he's just always nervous about it. So that's why I gave him, and he's got glasses, so I gave him this Harry Potter face, and the hair nicely covers up the lightning scar at the top of the Harry Potter head. So it's a worried Harry Potter face, and I just thought it was perfect for Arnold because he's always sort of like on the edge of anxious, ranging from on the edge of anxious to completely frightened. And then I guess I could just talk, we could go like all the way to the left maybe, and I could just like quickly tell you who everyone is. So on the far left, that's Ralphie. Then to his, I guess next is Dorothy Ann. Ralphie is kind of the class clown. Dorothy Ann is the one who fancies herself, I guess kind of the know-it-all. And then next to them, we've got Keisha and Carlos, and then the 2 teachers. And then on the other side of the teachers, we've got Giotti, and Giotti is a new character for the new version of the Magic School Bus. And then I talked about Arnold and talked about Tim, and the last there is Wanda.
So it's a
So
great ensemble you've got put together here, and yeah, I love the variety of minifigures you're able to represent here, and the great designs. So I think it goes really well with the school bus. So one thing I always find interesting to ask people about ideas projects is, do you have a general piece count for this, and then what would be kind of the price point that you have in mind for this set if it was made into an official set?
yeah, the bus with the modifications that I've shown you today is just under 900 pieces. It's like 897 or 898 or something like that. I don't have the exact number in my head, but it's almost 900 pieces. One of the challenges with pricing and potentially with actually getting this thing approved is the number of minifigures. Like, I think it'd be fairly unusual to get 10 minifigures in a set like this, but I'm hoping that something like, I think Friends had 7. I don't know how many Big Bang Theory had. That's be good for me to know so that I'm prepared to think about that. But one of the challenges is there really aren't any of the characters that are more or less important than the others. So it'd be hard for me to imagine if it had fewer minifigures in it. So I guess that being said, like, if it were just the bus, I would imagine, maybe it could be I don't know, maybe it could be a $50 or $60 set, but with all of these minifigures, it would probably be more like a $70, $80, $90 set. It's hard for me to know. Also, I feel like sometimes Lego sets are released and the prices don't make sense to me. So it's kind of hard to answer that question. But
Yeah, no, it's just always worth thinking about though, because I at the end of the day, the goal is to have this become an official product, and so these
right.
have to be feasible with price point and things like the minifigures that you mentioned. That obviously is an unusual thing and something that either you or the designers, if it reaches 10,000 votes, would have to figure out. So those types of things are worth keeping in mind. So I'm glad you're thinking of that.
Yeah, yeah. And at this point, I'm not sure what to do about that. I sort of feel like it's Lego's going to do the Lego group, the Lego designers are going to do what they want to do. So at this point, it's sort of like I don't know, hop on the bus, enjoy the ride, and brace myself for however the journey goes, I guess.
There you go. Just like the Magic School Bus.
One of the iconic lines from Ms. Frizzle is, I think she says, like, "Buckle up, everyone!" And so anyway, so that's where I'm at. I'm buckled up and I'm on the ride.
Yeah, well, you just hit 10,000 support, or 1,000. Sorry, 1,000 support. You did a live stream and hit 1,000 supporters last night, so you're well on your way. But for anyone watching this, definitely look for a link to the project in the description of this video, and you can go over and lend your support to the project as well. Help Boone's project become a reality. If you're a fan of the Magic School Bus, maybe you have kids that watch it, I think it's a super cool project, or you just want a cool looking school bus that can transform into all sorts of different things, that's also really cool. So definitely go over and support the project.
Yeah, thank you very much. Please do. One thing that I was saying last night as we were approaching 1,000 is that if every person who has already voted got 3 of their friends to vote, and then each of those people got 3 of their friends to vote, we would be at the 10,000. So voting is awesome. I appreciate that. And you have no idea how just sharing with a few of your friends or a few of your family members, how big of an impact that can have. So thank you.
That's exactly right. Yeah, sharing ideas projects. If you're a big enough fan to support it, then sharing is always a really, really big help with any ideas project. So always encourage people to do that. Get it out to your friends, even if they're not, maybe not your typical Lego fans. A lot of people might go and lend support just because they're a fan of in this case, the Magic School Bus or something, but maybe haven't done a lot with Lego. So
or even teachers, like if you have teachers, if you know teachers in your life, or any sort of educational communities, I know a lot of times the episodes of the show, because each episode is very focused on sort of a scientific, vein or theory. Oftentimes the individual episodes of the show can be used in a classroom setting, as an educational purpose, a support to curriculum in science, technology, electronics, and STEM. What's and mathematics, and kind of like Bill Nye the Science Guy, right? And so anybody that you think might appreciate this, even if maybe they're a bus driver, you got a bus driver in your family, they would love to have one of these sitting up on their mantle, feeling like they're changing the world, because they are. All right.
So many different audiences for this product.
you want a bus? People who love ships in a bottle might love a bus in a bottle. So,
let your imagination run wild. Well, good stuff, Boone. I'm glad you finally took the leap into putting an ideas project out there with all of the great ideas you've had. So I knew something would come around eventually for you, and I wish you the best of luck with this. I hope it reaches 10,000 as soon as possible.
Thank you very much, Joshua. I really appreciate you and John and all that you guys have done to help me out. So I really appreciate it.
For sure. And thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll see you